The trauma started when I was in kindergarten. So I was 5 or 6 years old. I witnessed abuse in my home, but it was very traumatic, especially at a 5 or 6 year old's level. And you don't realize that you have a problem until you get older. So at 19 years old, I ended up in the psych hospital and was diagnosed as bipolar. I'm currently 54 years old. From 19 to 54, I've had several suicide attempts. I've been hospitalized multiple times, and I've been on medication. And I mean, just as recently as 3 years ago, I was taking 7 different psych medications together all at one time. And I have been in numerous different therapies as well as medication therapy. And I've really never gotten better. The medications would take the symptoms away, but the problems were still there. So after doing this process, after 45 minutes, I had this freedom I have never known, ever. I felt like the trauma all dissipated within the 45-minute session. I was able to look at the person who I blamed and held responsible for my trauma and totally see them as a pure soul, and that a level of forgiveness that I have never known came about. And I see this person in a totally different light. And I didn't even know I was harboring that within me. I really felt like I had forgiven this person and that, there was something wrong with me. And that wasn't what it was. I was harboring anger and resentment, and I didn't know, and I didn't recognize it. It was so repressed from the age of 5 until now, almost 50 years. I had buried it so deep that I didn't even recognize what it was that was making me have these feelings. And I would deny that those feelings were there. I had conned myself into believing that those feelings about this person, that wasn't how I felt, that I loved him because it was one of my parents. And now it's just totally different. Like I labeled that person as a narcissist, and I had all this pent up negative energy pent up inside me for this person. And within 45 minutes that it was all released. And it's undescribable, the feeling of freedom you get when you let it go. And it finally went, but the other methods never worked. This was the first method that I have ever tried that actually helped me to forgive and to actually let go of all the anger and resentment and see that person as a pure soul and not as a narcissist or a doer, or to blame them or see them as a bad person or a mean person. And all those negative connotations, opinions, they dissipated with this process.
If you were telling somebody who was considering doing this, what would you say to somebody?
I would just say that you absolutely have nothing to lose, and I would at least try, because when you go for almost close to 50 years of being in a state where you've tried every modality out there and nothing has worked, and something that took 45 minutes changed your whole outlook and your whole circuitry to be able to function without that trauma and all that negativity. It's utterly amazing. I just can't say enough about it. Other people understand if they've been carrying those burdens around for 50 years and they've been through the same thing. Nothing ever treats the root cause. It just masks the symptoms. And you find something that in 45 minutes goes to the root of the problem and totally excises the root, then the symptoms go away. The problem doesn't come back because you pulled it out at the root. So I would recommend anyone to try it for 45 minutes. It's a life changer.